All right, so is it okay? Is this okay if Brandon and I get kind of vulnerable and really real with all of you? I told you before that I'm the kind of guy that, what you see is what you get. I think for the people that I've known for many years, they would find that to be true, transparent, show who I am. If you resonate with me and we connect, that's fantastic. And if you don't, then at least I know I'm living authentically, and that's fine too, right? You're going to connect with the people you're meant to connect with. And one of the things in getting to know Brandon is that he also is a guy that, puts out there who he is. He wears who he is on his sleeve, and I like who he is. And we found an area around health and some experiences in that, and thought that we would end the meetup here and spend a little bit of time just talking about some things that have made a tremendous impact in our own. And by the way, everything we're going to talk about are our own opinions, might not reflect the opinions of others, but we wanted to share this with you, just in the hopes that, not in the sense of preaching anything, but that maybe something we share is going to positively impact, one or two people here in the room or more, or people watching on film. And if we do that and it resonates, then we're having an impact, and that's kind of why we're sharing it. And some of the areas that we're going to talk about, I have publicly shared. And off record and confidentially, I've had a lot of people reach out to me to have conversations around some of these things. So I know it's making an impact. And they tell me that it's making an impact. So I thought, while we have everybody here, that we would speak to some of those things and then kind of even branch out onto some things that I've never really talked about, and some things I'm really gaining from a lot in my life personally right now that Brandon is as well. So he's going to start, I'm going to come in, we're going to share our story and a few more things. Now the event was going to hard stop typically at 2, but as I said, we have the room till 3, and that's when a lot of the networking takes place. It's about 8 minutes till 2, so we might run a little past 2 here. Hopefully everybody will hang in with us, because you were going to hang out and network till 3 anyway, and there will still be plenty of time for us, but we might run just a little bit over. So, Brandon?
Cool. Yeah, so the title of this slide is High Performance in Multifamily Operations. And so when I got into this industry, it was like passive income, passive. You can sleep and make money, and you can go on vacation and make money, and that's great. And one day you can. But the reality of it was working beyond the normal 9 to 5. I literally work from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. And my challenge personally is making that personal time to hit the gym, meditation, yoga, and do those things. Every week I get a little stronger with it. I'm like, all right, that has to be important. Working on the weekends. I don't even feel like the weekends are weekends anymore. I still have a good time at night, but I still got to work on the weekends. And then we have the networking and presenting. And if you're an introvert, networking will drain you. And I know that because, I don't know, some days I'm introverted, some days I'm not, but after this, I'm going to go get a pizza, and I'm just going to be chilling out for a little bit. But social media, oh my gosh, how much our brains get drained on social media. A lot of it's good stuff, but then you're like, oh my God, all this time just went by and I've just been on social media. There's a lot of pressure to be on social media and be presenting, and so it's coming at us from all sorts of angles, and you gotta be responsible with your family and friends. You gotta spend time with them as well, and that personal time to yourself. And on that note, we do my team does a color-coordinated schedule, and the green activities are money-producing, red activities are non-money producing, and then blue are leading to money producing. And our goal is to always try to get into the green, but the most important color on that thing for everybody, they get to pick their favorite color, and it's their personal time. And if you're not doing your personal time in the mornings or the evenings or on the weekends, and I'm not just saying partying, I'm saying taking care of your body, spending time with yourself, it totally can affect you and throw you off. And these little things, the compound effect, they add up over time, and they can throw you off your business as well and your relationships. What y'all saw this earlier was I put staying on your meds. So I didn't come up with this acronym. My brother did, but I know he didn't come up with it. So can't give him credit either. But I bet if we Google it, somebody did. But staying on your meds does not mean the prescription medication that your doctor's giving you. It means every day hitting your meditation, your exercise, your diet, and your sleep. And then Also, for me, this is me personally, for me it's avoiding alcohol. So as Aaron was saying, my journey, my struggle has been alcohol. You know, as I was growing up, I was fine. I could drink like everybody else, but it was as I got older, my body couldn't handle it as much, and then the responsibilities just got there where I couldn't be showing up, you know, half-assed, or people kind of tell I drank the night before. And then it kind of psychosomatically, it got into a weird relationship with alcohol, and the false belief that I had to overcome was, am I going to lose friends? Am I going to lose business friends? And so what I was thinking that was keeping me in that loop was like, as long as I can't drink like a normal person and just go out and have a glass of wine with my buddies or my partners, I'm always going to be this odd, awkward person, man out, like, and they're going to like think I'm weird, and then they're not going to like me, and then they're not going to want to do business with me. You see how far I took it? So, one day I stopped drinking. And then I started putting myself out there, but what happened was the opposite. It was actually people were more intrigued, more interested in me. I showed up better. I connected with them better. And then I started seeing posts by this guy about him taking a break from alcohol, and I was like, okay, that makes me feel better too. That's pretty cool. And at this point here today in 2023, I mean, there's a whole movement of people not drinking, more so on the Gen Z side, but it's becoming cool to not drink. And that helps me tremendously because I really do need to avoid that stuff. But yeah, that was kind of my journey with alcohol. But on top of that, this last part here, eating clean. I mean, geez, that affects me too. And when I need to be high performance, like this last week, I ate as clean as I could so I could show up here today and do as good as I can for you guys. So those are the two biggest for me. Eating clean is a lot harder. I can have a brownie every now and then, but it's like, it doesn't seem as bad as alcohol, but it can catch up to you. But yeah, here you go.
Yeah, no doubt. And those have kind of been the two parts of my journey, and I'm going to speak to alcohol, and I'm going to speak to eating clean and general health. So, and to be honest, like most people, even in this multifamily industry, or just about every industry out there, or American and world culture in general, alcohol is pervasive. It's everywhere, so much so that people tend to think it's, you know, no big deal, and not the drug as much as any other drug that it is, that's, you know, a toxic carcinogen that can have negative effects. So not judging anybody. I'm a huge music fan. I go to a ton of concerts. I have friends in the music industry. As I was telling Brandon the other day when we had lunch to prep for this, I'm around, because I love music so much, the most alcohol-fueled situations you can imagine. But for the last 2.5 years, I've been completely sober. And I've discovered, much like Brandon, that being in those situations, or any situations, that I'm more present, that I'm actually more engaged, connected, and sharp. Certainly I remember everything. And I've experienced so many gains in my life from having had my last drink back on March 1st, 2021. And I could talk on this for hours, and the literature is all there. You're not going to hear about it in mainstream culture. Really, you're not going to hear about it probably from your doctor, and not knocking any doctors that might be here. But the reasons for that are that alcohol addiction tends to be rampant, even in the medical community. And the advertising of big alcohol is so mind impacting that we all have certain things that we think of around alcohol that it enhances connection. You know, my discovery and the reality is exactly the opposite. When you drink, it actually kind of insulates you within yourself, and you're not genuinely connecting with the people around you if they're drinking. Everybody's off on their own trip within themselves in their own head. Genuine connections not really taking place. I mean, how many times did I have, and maybe you had, situations where you're hanging with people all night, you think you're best buds, and then you wake up the next day and you realize it was just all fueled by the alcohol, and it's not genuine connecting. So since I gave up alcohol over the last 2.5 years, all of the experiences in my life have improved. Connection with loved ones, connection with friends, even friends that drink, and I'm not judging. I'm just speaking to my own experience and some of the things I've learned from having really read up on and read 35 plus great books over the last 2.5 years. So anybody out there that's, thought or thinking that you might have a problem with alcohol, or look, even if you don't and you can drink fine, it's been concluded now that there's really no safe amount of alcohol that you can consume that's not going to have a negative impact upon you. The long-held myth that, hey, a glass of red wine is good for you, most of that was from studies that were funded by the alcohol industry to propagate it, because alcohol has just a little bit of like resveratrol, which you can get taking directly and not get all the harmful toxic effects of the alcohol itself. So even if you're a casual drinker, you would benefit in a health sense by giving up alcohol. And certainly if you feel that, it was something that, was an addiction and a problem that was keeping you from showing up at your best, I'd encourage you to consider taking a break. And there's a lot of great literature out there around it now. There's movements. I'm happy to recommend any books that made a tremendous impact on my life. So I think I speak for Brandon too. If anything we're saying around alcohol, resonates with any of you and you want to have any offline private conversations, get any recommendations, just reach out to us one-on-one or privately. And, we're being real here. Look, a lot of people aren't going to talk about this kind of stuff publicly, but I believe that people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And in this business, that one of the advantages is we get to know the people that we're investing in these deals with. First as people, before you look at their underwriting and their pro formas for project, you get to know who they are as people. And you want to get to know who they are as people before you invest. So, it's risky, I think, for Brandon and I, in a sense. It's hard just to get up here and be vulnerable. I'm a bit drained after, because being really vulnerable publicly is hard. But we want to help people. We want to help people be successful in multifamily. We want to be good stewards of other people's money. And if there's areas of our lives in which we can make an impact, we are. So that was my journey, 2.5 years with alcohol. Then I'm going to pass it back to Brandon. But this year, one of the other areas that Brandon touched on is I've really taken it to the next level, and I've got a couple books I want to share here and a little bit of info from both in terms of, okay, how can I continue? Because at first it was just about giving up alcohol, right? But then it becomes, all right, I've done that, and I've seen all the health gains and the relationship gains and the professional gains that have come from leaving alcohol in the past, and for me, it's not a break. Like, it's done. It's in the rearview mirror, and I'm happy to move forward the rest of my life and, age better and live healthier and avoid, the diseases that can come from living that lifestyle. But now, this year, I've made a lot of strides in taking it to the next level in terms of health overall, and some of that's eating clean and some is in other ways. So I'm going to show you a couple books and share a quote from one and talk a little bit about that after Brandon shares a little more.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, Aaron. And I just, while he was talking, I was just thinking, over the last 6 months, how fast everything's been happening that I've been wanting to happen, and how it's just one thing after another, one relationship after another, like stacking on top of each other. And the only thing I could think about is why did that take so long to happen? Is because something was getting in the way. And I think when we think about, I was hungover, or I'm drinking on a Saturday night, I'm hungover Sunday, we don't really also add in there the 3 hours we plan to go out, or the 3 hours, or that Monday that I decided not to do the work, so I wasn't feeling good still. And all of that just adds up, and you miss these opportunities. And when you don't show up as your 100% authentic self, it's hard to make that connection with people. They can feel it. We're all energy people. And so, it was amazing. I don't know if it's the same for everybody else, but once I kind of got that out of my life and I wasn't even thinking about it anymore, it just opened up all sorts of opportunities for me. It made life really easy to manage. And so my next challenge or journey is going to be nutrition, and not just the keto diet, but a specific keto diet. I'm reading a book called Brain Energy, and this scientist has found that a lot of the mental illnesses that we have, like Alzheimer's and epilepsy, can be cured by eating right. And even the people that have tried it and been successful, the moment they get off that diet and go back to eating carbs and sugars, all the symptoms come back. And so it has something to do with your mitochondria and the energy it produces. But I was kind of skeptical about the book, but so far it's been good and it's been solid, and he's been able to change my mind. My next journey, this is probably going to be my hardest one because alcohol, it was obvious that it was affecting me. Food, it's not so much, but It's the little things, and so I'm going to try to be on the ketogenic diet. And with these guys here, Herb and Jared Culp, actually, y'all didn't think I was going to say so much. On September 1st, the week of September 1st, we're going to do a water fast. Aaron, you're invited as well. We're going to only drink water for 7 days, and what that does is it resets your system, puts you into, what's the word I'm looking for? Autophagy, yes. Puts you into that state where your body's eating itself. Sounds great, doesn't it? But it's eating the worst things first. It's like eating the toxins, and it's getting rid of all that. It's a full reset. So this is full disclaimer. Go ask your doctor. Don't come from me. But we do have 2 other levels of that. If y'all want to join us and have fun, we're going to jump on like a 15-minute Facebook Live each day just to see how much everybody's suffering. That's going to be fun, right? Just say everybody just complaining, like
shared misery,
looking at the brownie or whatever. But yeah, if you don't want to do the water for 7 days, next level up is bone broth. I've done bone broth for a week, and that's a lot easier. You feel full all the time. I didn't lose any weight, which was kind of weird. And then the last level is just like smoothies. Basically like a meal replacing smoothie, but just greens, liquid greens. And that's the other one if you guys want to join that challenge with us. But if you do the water, please just still take your vitamins and minerals and all that stuff.
Yeah, I haven't been brave or had the desire yet to do any type of these aggressive fasts, but for some people that's part of it. But I have been implementing healthy eating, and I'm going to share a few books that have had an impact and a quote from one. And my intention wasn't even to lose weight. I did shed 10 pounds because my body just kind of went to where it wanted to once I started using food, except for the rare exception, but primarily using food as medicine, using food as fuel rather than just as an indulgence, and giving the body what it needs rather than what my mind thinks it wants. And so that's kind of happened, and just feeling great, feeling better, the energy's up, which I'm able to take and apply, and it makes me a better multifamily deal sponsor, a better partner, a better steward of other people's money, a better friend, a better husband, a better father, all of those good things. So this book I read this year, and it's been tremendously impactful, and that's Mark Hyman's Young Forever. If anybody wants to write this down or pick it up, I'd highly recommend this book. By the way, the 2 books that I'm going to talk about, don't talk about alcohol too much. That's not the focus. I have other books I could recommend for that, but that's certainly part of a whole lifestyle kind of thing that they mention here. And basically the science, and this might be more interesting to a guy that's 52 than a guy that's 35, but the science around longevity and our ability to not only extend our lifespan, but our health span, meaning the quality of the years we live, right? Because if I ask most people right now, if you want to live to 120, most people will think of like how decrepit some people are at like 90, and they're thinking another 30 years of that. I don't think so. But what if you could live those extra years from 90 and live to 120 and be in good health? And by the way, a lot of longevity experts right now are already thinking, and these aren't fringe people out there on the outside, but legitimate scientists, that about half the people born now are going to live to at least 104 years old here in our country. So that science and that longevity is really progressing. Now, beyond the science and the outside things that we're going to see that come into the medical profession, the biggest impact all of us can have on taking care of our own health and extending our own lifespan and our health span is how we live our lives, and the habits that we have, and the food that we eat, and the good things we put in our body, or the bad things that we choose to not put in our body, as we've talked about. And one of the things that I have a real passion for is the genetic component around diseases and what we're destined for, or our fates, has been overblown in the sense that if you're genetically predisposed through your family to any disease or something, sure, that is there. But the science around it says that our exposome controls which genes are turned on and which genes are not turned on by the habits we have and how we live. So you're not predetermined to get cancer because cancer runs in your family. You can turn on those cancer genes or not, hopefully, right? Because you're living life in a good way. I think this is tremendously empowering, and all the science around it is overwhelming now for those that want to look. And I'm going to share a quote from the Young Forever book, and it basically says, "You can start turning back the clock today. Our simple daily habits dramatically impact the way we age," and the Young Forever program, the book that Mark Hyman talks about in his book, which would probably be similar to other health programs you read. He's got some unique things in there, but will be your guide to preventing chronic illness, reversing your biological age, and living long and well. By focusing on health span as opposed to just lifespan, you can put more life in your years and more years in your life. This is the great part. The surprising fact is that if you address the root causes of the hallmarks of aging and disease, then you don't have to treat all the diseases of aging separately. Heart disease, high blood pressure, stroke, dementia, type 2 diabetes, cancer, autoimmune disease. In fact, all disease except acute injury and trauma results from imbalances in the core systems. Get those systems sorted and nearly all diseases go away. So what I take from that is that's tremendously empowering. That means that we have a lot more control than most of us have been led to believe into how we're going to age, what diseases we may or may not have to deal with. They're not inevitable, and that's so empowering, and we have the opportunity to fashion our health and our life and our longevity, and the science is exploding in that area. I'd recommend reading this book. Another book I read this year around longevity that was great is David Sinclair's Lifespan, Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to. I'd highly recommend that as well. So if Brandon has something to close out with, as I said, I'm passionate about this. If anybody wants to chit chat about it or send me an email, you have my email address on my card. Feel free to do so. I wanted to check one thing here. Do you have anything to add?
Thanks for everybody that came out today and gave us the chance to speak to you.
A little more, yeah.
A little higher?
I'm going to talk a little more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. If you didn't get the QR code for whatever reason, just see me right after this, and I can text it over to you.
Yeah, I wanted, again, you heard a lot about multifamily, how the great vehicle it's been and is going to be for us to continue to be, to build, create wealth, financial comfort, security, and freedom. It can be that vehicle for all of you, no matter where you are at the path. I'd highly recommend the AIM NatCon event. The QR code is there. Her told me something, though, while I was here, and I don't know why this is, but for some reason, the QR code is not currently linking to that buy one, get one free special at $299 I told you about, and the $799 VIP price. I've emailed a couple people on the Sumrock team to try to find out why that is, because it was doing it like a day or two ago, and as Sean said, it's supposed to be through the weekend. So hang on to the flyers. If you're not seeing that $299 buy one, get one free for the GA or $799, instead you're seeing no buy one, get one free, but GA at $349, $849, hang on to the flyer. I'm going to see if I can get them to turn it back on or whatever happened. So just keep an eye on it, I would say, over the weekend, and I'm sorry for that, but I did want to point that out to everybody because that's what I'm seeing, and I texted them, and I have yet to hear back. I understand, of course, it's a Saturday afternoon. They have lives outside of working for Sumrock Multifamily Mentoring as well, and maybe they're with their families. But I would say just check over the next day or two, because at some point I'm going to make sure that gets turned back on, and I want to make sure that all of you get the best pricing. I'm going to be at this event. You're going to be at this event, right, Brandon?
Yep.
And who else is already in the room is already planning on being there? And for people that, maybe this would help the people that are in the room that have never been to a Brad Sumrock event, but how many people are in this room and have been in the past to a Brad Sumrock event and would recommend it to new people as a way to really get plugged into multifamily? Yeah, I would too. That's why I promote the event. There's some other apartment investing national conferences in the country. I've been to some of them. I haven't been to all of them. Of all the ones I've ever been to, this is by far the best. As I said, Brad's bringing in big guns, Robert Kiyosaki, and some other really big speakers. He speaks himself. You're going to meet a lot of great people and walk out of there with a ton of knowledge. So I hope to see you there August 25th, 27th in Dallas. Who got something good out of today's event?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So that's why I do these events. By the way, the next event will probably be in October. Haven't set a date yet. One of our daughters is getting married at the end of September, which would probably have been the normal time frame, but I'm going to be busy ramping up for that. So I think it'll probably be on the other side of that, maybe sometime in mid to late October. So a little longer of a break in between events that we typically have, but I'll keep all of you in the loop. Have all your friends and family come join the group because it's free. I hope you see it's a great resource. You even get fed, and they'll be kept in the loop on future events as well. We have the room for another 45 minutes, so come say hello to Brandon and I, chit-chat amongst each other, and we appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much.
That's a wrap.